set, hut.
As the hills of West Virginia resound with the sound of Golden Blue football.
Almost heaven, West Virginia.
Now let's bring on the Mountaineers. Goes around about the 50 to 10 to 5. A touchdown, West Virginia. He did it.
He did it. Patrick White. Touchdown, Tay Von Austin.
The Don Nehlen's Mountaineers enjoy walking in where angels feared to tread.
I think you think that these guys are going to fall over dead for you. Well, I got news for you. They're going to punch you right in the mouth. It's Mountaineer pride.
Nothing cheap, nothing dirty, but West Virginia football. West Virginia football.
Leave no doubt tonight. They shouldn't have played the old Golden Blue. Not this night.
They've done it. They've done it. A perfect season. And the Mountaineers, for the first time in history, undefeated and untied.
Don Nehlen and his Mountaineers, for the second time, have finished a regular season with an unblemished mark.
Ain't no stopping the Golden Blue.
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome into another live stream here on the Country Roads Webcast, July 16th edition. And we got another joint show coming at you, jam-packed with both WVU football topics and WVU basketball topics. We'll lead off with football and then hit up basketball here before we wrap up the show. And when we hit football, yet again, it seems like it's been the theme of the summer, talking WVU football recruiting with that 2026 class, how impressive it's been. And I think I haven't been more blown away than I have been with the recent commitment for WVU, not only because of the players' talent, but also because I'm just super, super impressed with what West Virginia has done at the running back position with this 2026 class. Incredible job. You guys have heard me rave about both the running backs we've talked about in the past with Jet Walker and Christopher Talley, and those guys are super talented in their own right. And I thought when West Virginia had them in tow, they didn't have a shot at this other young man, and it turns out they indeed had a shot. Not only do they have a shot, they get the commitment of a super blazing fast running back. We're talking about a guy that runs in the 4.3s in the 40-yard dash. So super excited to talk about him, show you guys some of his plays. I think you'll be super excited about him as well. And I mean, if you're a West Virginia football fan, knowing the offense that Rich Rodriguez runs, you should be licking your chops looking at the running backs that West Virginia is bringing in to be the future of that offense, the focal point of that Rich Rod rushing offense. And the latest commitment is no different than the first two running backs we've talked about here. So we'll talk about another 2026 commitment for WVU, then a couple little news and notes, and then we'll switch gears, talk WVU basketball, where we have to talk about a new addition to the roster. Don't know how impactful it'll be for the upcoming season, but definitely could be a developmental piece, and it gets you that much closer to rounding out Ross Hodges' initial roster. I think you have one more roster spot remaining after this latest edition, so we'll talk about him as well on the basketball side, plus an update on a series that we talked about previously that West Virginia was rumored to be having with Wake Forest. That's now official, and the location that we guessed it would be at is indeed where it's going to be at. So we'll talk about that at the tail end of the show. We'll hit football first, talk about this impressive, speedy, blazing fast running back West Virginia's added to the 2026 class first. So that's what's on the docket for this one. Appreciate you guys tuning in here, whether you're watching on Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube. If you're on Facebook or Twitch, I encourage you to come over to the Country Roads Webcast YouTube, subscribe here. That way you get access to the pre-recorded videos, podcast episodes, in addition to these live streams. And of course, you can help us out by hitting that thumbs up button here on YouTube, whether you're watching live or on a playback. Helps out with that YouTube algorithm, helps us find more Mountaineer football fans like yourself. And if you are in your live, hit up in the live chat there. I'll hit some comments before we get to the end of the show. I'll answer some of the questions, comments there from the live chat. And if you're watching after the fact, you can leave them in the comment section. Appreciate those interactions as well as we continue to try and grow the CRW community throughout Mountaineer Nation. So with that being said, we're going to get into it right away. Let's dive in and talk about the running back commitment that West Virginia just landed in the class of 2026. And that is, of course, none other than Sir Paul Cheeks. That's right. all name team for sure already. But if that's not enough to sell you on him, just the awesome name. I mean, his name is Sir Paul Cheeks. I mean, that's pretty incredible in and of itself. But this guy is a 4.3 40-yard dash. And when we're talking 40-yard dash times for a running back, guys, like 4.5, you're pretty damn fast if you're a running back running a 4.5. If you're running a 4.3, you're talking Steve Slayton, Noel Devine, Tavon Austin type speed. You're in that level. And Sir Paul Cheeks has that type of speed. And we've had 2 great running backs in this 2026 class already. We've added a 3rd great running back in this class, and he is the fastest of the bunch. As see his commitment graphic here, he put out on social media, 1,000% committed. And you see the graphic there with the nice Mountaineer field, the Mountaineer himself on there, and his commitment graphic there for Sir Paul Cheeks. So let's take a look here at his recruiting profile really quickly. Pull that up on 247 and Rivals. I think he's not yet rated on Rivals, but we can see he's 5'9", 185, 17 total offers, so highly sought after prospect out of the state of Virginia. So you're doing a good job in a borderline state as well. Next up, let's pull up his profile here on 247. Then we'll update our commitment tracker here on the CRW with our 2026 commitment tracker. Then I want to show you guys some impressive plays of Sir Paul Cheeks, because you guys are really going to like what you see here from this running back edition. He has been rated on 247 and rated pretty highly at that. Like we said, 5'9", 185 from Verena High School, 87 graded 3-star, so a little bit higher than most of the 3-stars West Virginia's picked up in this class have been around 85, 86. We've had a couple 87, 88, 89s. Sir Paul Cheeks fits in that category, and he's also a top 20 player in the state of Virginia, which we know produces some really good football players, and a top 40 running back in the nation that West Virginia just picked up here with Sir Paul Cheeks, and he'll beat out a lot of programs to do so, including the SEC with Kentucky. Virginia Tech was after him. Pitt was after him. So when you beat out those 2 rivals, makes it even that much sweeter, right? So let's pull up our commitment tracker here on the CRW, and you can see his name added to the list. I think we're up to 24 names. I should have went back through here and counted. I believe he's the 24th name in the 2026 recruiting class is Sir Paul Cheeks, 5'9", 185-pound running back out of Virginia. And if we highlight just the running backs West Virginia's picked up in this class, that's enough to impress the hell out of you. But man, what a job this staff has done. You know, nearly getting close to 25 verbal commitments, and still 5 months away from signing day, and they pretty much have their high school class in tow the way that they want it, and some really talented players here. And I think probably none more talented than what you picked up at the running back position, because you guys know since I very first started covering this, back at the second very commit we got was Jet Walker at the running back position. I've been raving about him being my favorite commit in the class for a long time. I was blown away by his tape. The combination he has of speed and size at 6'2", 215 is impressive. So they go get him out of Texas. Super, under the radar right now. He's probably going to shoot up the recruiting rankings throughout his senior season. Then, just recently, we talked about Christopher Talley on a recent stream, a running back out of Tennessee that's, a little bit smaller in stature at 5'10", 170. But, man, does he play bigger than his size. He runs super tough. You would expect when you see those 2 frames that Jet Walker would be the power runner, Talley would be the speed runner. But both of those guys are kind of have that all-around ability to their game. Talley has size and speed. Or strength and speed, I should say, despite not having the size that Walker has. Walker has size, strength, and speed. So you get Christopher Talley out of Tennessee. You got Jet Walker out of Texas. And, we knew West Virginia had been in the mix for Sir Paul Cheeks. And he was one that was, up there on my wish list. But I didn't think West Virginia was going to get him. I knew he had that great speed, and I'm a sucker for that type of speed. And so I was hoping. But then once we got Christopher Talley and we already had Jet Walker, I was like, well, I guess we're not getting Sir Paul Cheeks. Lo and behold, about a week later, boom, announces the commitment to the Mountaineers. We land probably the fastest running back we were going after. And I think we had the 2 most under the radar already with Christopher Talley and Jet Walker. So we go into Virginia, Tennessee, and Texas and get 3 of, in my opinion, the best running backs in the 2026 class. Star rating and everything else be damned. Watch these guys on tape. They're super talented. We've done it with Jet Walker. We've done it with Christopher Talley. Now let's do it with Sir Paul Cheeks. Take a look at some of his standout plays here. We'll watch just a brief little bit of his huddle tape here from his junior season highlight video that he has uploaded. I want to his huddle. Which it's got an ad playing through. Let me let that play through really quickly, and then I'll share the screen with you guys. And we will take a look at Sir Paul Cheeks' game, which I think you guys will find just as exciting as I did. So let's take a look here. And I've only seen a couple of these plays, and I was already sold. I haven't looked at this exact tape, so I don't know if the plays I've seen will be on there. But this is a 7-minute and 30-second highlight tape he has on a total of his junior year highlights. I suggest go check it out for sure in its entirety. We'll check out a few plays here, see what we can garner from this speedster. See him highlighted there in the backfield beside the quarterback. They got an orbit motion coming around, a little eye candy just to give it to him here. He's going off the left side there, cuts it back. So you see great vision right there right away, and then there's the speed. Forget about it, man. Oh, my goodness. Look at that on the first play. I mean, no one's even close. So I think what's impressive, though, obviously, of course, we know about the speed. Once he gets through that hole, it's lights out. But watch the vision, because really this play is designed to kind of go left outside, right? And watch his vision. As soon as he takes the handoff right here, he sees this lane open it up on a cutback lane right here, and boom, sticks his foot in the ground, hits the cutback lane, gets up the field, and forget about it. No one's touching him. I mean, and that's crazy because there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys around him. Some of them looked like they even had an angle, and none of them came close to Sir Paul Cheeks there. So one play, and you can see how impressive already. Let's check out another one here. He's going to take out a handoff here, going outside, and this edge defender kind of got upfield, so he's having to balance it a little bit. So he's taking this handoff and starting at a deficit as he's already in the shotgun, but then look at him, he's having to go back because that edge rusher got pressure upfield, so he's going back another 2 yards right there, having to go off that. And look at this. They look like they got him hemmed in, and so there you see some of the footwork as well. He's got a little bit of that, twitch as well to give him as that play looked like it was going to be blown up in the backfield right from the get-go. From where he takes the handoff right there, he has to go backwards to go around that defender. Once he goes backwards, if you pause this right here in this frame, look, he's got 2 guys right here dead in front of him. I mean, nowhere to go, nowhere to cut back to. What's he going to do? He's just going to give him a little shake, make him think he's going outside, cut back inside, and then he's gone. Forget about it. That's what you love about this type of running back with this type of speed, which not only does he have the speed, we're seeing vision here, we're seeing the ability to make people miss, but with someone with this type of speed, if they are able to make one man miss, they can go house it at any time. And in Rich Rod's offense, he's going to be a perfect fit for that because the way they scheme it up, a lot of times you're going to get to the second level and be one-on-one with a defender that if you make miss, you can go score. And I'll tell you what, Sir Paul Cheeks is going to be scoring a lot of touchdowns in Morgantown. Last play we'll look at here. How about him taking a toss play out of the shotgun here on this one as we see him highlighted there on the screen. And here he is on the toss, gets to the edge, forget about it. Gone to the house. No one is, I mean, it looks like he's jogging. He doesn't even have to go full sprint. He's so fast, man. That's what 4.3 speed looks like when you get out on the edge and get him out in open space. And I can't wait to see him in open space as a Mountaineer. He's going to be fun to watch with Sir Paul Cheeks in the fold. And that's just 3 plays of a 7-minute highlight tape that I suggest you guys check out when it comes to Sir Paul Cheeks. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how West Virginia uses those 3 running backs they have in the 2026 class. Maybe you get them all on the field together even at times because, Sir Paul Cheeks, when I watch his tape, I don't like to compare anyone to Tavon Austin. I'm not going to do that here. I'm not saying he's that type of player necessarily, but when we brought in Tavon Austin, he was a running back recruit, super fast. And then we ended up, putting him in the slot, putting him an outside receiver just to get him in space, get the ball in his hands. And I think with Sir Paul Cheeks, he's someone you're going to want to get on the field early, get the ball in his hands. Even if he's not first on your depth chart at the running back position, you get the ball to him some way. You let him return kicks, you do something. And I'm excited to see what West Virginia does with his speed and what they do with the other 2 running backs, Jet Walker and Christopher Talley, because this 2026 running back class is absolutely loaded. Can't be excited enough about it. Excited about the 2026 class in general. And that's what I wanted to talk about on the football side. Other than that, a couple quick news and notes. Have been trying to share the Weight Room Warriors, and the latest one shared by the university as we continue to go through these off-season workouts. Our offensive lineman Malik Ogbo, safety Chris Filippo, and defensive lineman Jackson Beiser, the latest Weight Room Warriors that we'll recognize. And then while we're talking about Sir Paul Cheeks, I think it's fitting that we transition right into this before we go over and talk some basketball to wrap up the show. You may have seen Kirk Herbstreit was on the Pat McAfee show earlier today. Some good clips coming out around that. This one right here was the one that really stood out to me, and it's fitting for a couple of reasons. They actually mentioned Sir Paul Cheeks in this clip, and also Kirk Herbstreit is on a WVU bandwagon. He's actually not going to hate on us now that Rich Rod's back. Later on, they'd even talk about hoping to get game day to Morgantown. So, Kirk wants it, Pat wants it. That's maybe good in our favor for Backyard Brawl getting game day. But let's take a look at this clip where we hear him talk a little bit about Sir Paul Cheeks and hear Kirk Herbstreit say some positive things about WVU for once, which made me smile.
Yeah.
Have you heard about Sir?
Oh, yeah. Sir Paul?
Have you heard about Sir Paul?
No.
Jesus and cleats?
Jesus cleats.
Cheeks?
Sir Paul
Sir
Cheeks.
Paul Cheeks?
No.
Is that a
You're going to learn today,
Better
Kurt.
wake up.
That's from a skit.
West Virginia got a commitment from Sir Paul
Cheeks.
Jesus and cleats.
Jesus and cleats.
Cheeks.
Where's he from?
Sir Paul? He's from fucking football god, brother.
Heaven. Hey, all I can tell you is if Rich Rod recruited him, he's a great player.
Boom.
He's a dog.
It's a new era in Morgantown, and I am officially on the bandwagon.
There it is.
Because Rich Rod, to me, I'm all in
I've
on
heard
Rich
some
Rod.
stories about the first hill that these boys had to experience with
I
Rich
love that he
Rodriguez.
says things, the way he talks, the way he says, like, we're not doing that. Like, we're going to go back to work, and we're just going to grind. We're going to, and these guys probably, they don't know what hit him. Has he lost a lot of players?
So there's been a lot of action in the portal, and I don't know if it's been a two-way street or not, if it's been potentially like, hey, don't know if you're going to fit in with our style, or if the player's saying, I definitely don't fit into this style. But
Style is relentless.
We've replaced now. We got dogs in there. So
They're coming.
So that's what I'm saying.
Coming.
So I had immediate like, yep, this year they're going to go. But I think if you go from one culture to the next, especially with how polar these particular cultures will be for each other.
Yeah, opposite.
You got to get it in there. That's the whole department. That's food, nutrition.
100%.
It's
everything.
Everything in the building.
Couldn't be any more opposite.
And I'll tell you, I think the state of West Virginia is excited to have a little bit of a
How could you not?
Rich Rod's saying, hell, if we win a big game, I think they got an ordinance against it. I guess I'll pay my fine in advance. I'm burning fucking cow. Like, that is
Pat McAfee never fails to make me laugh. But I got to agree with what Kirk Herbstreit said, and I didn't think I'd ever say that. But if Rich Rod recruited him, he's a good player. And Sir Paul Cheeks, the running back out of Virginia, certainly impressive. 4.3 speed, doesn't grow on trees. Like we said, 4.5's fast. 4.3 is ridiculous fast. And that's what we got with Sir Paul Cheeks. So excited about him and excited about that 2026 WVU football recruiting class in general. And we'll continue to talk about it as we lead up to signing day and we get closer and closer to the WVU football season. But that's what I had on the football side. Switch gears here, talk a little bit of WVU basketball as they have a roster addition to discuss and a quick update on a series that we knew was coming. We now know the official location that it's taking place at. So first, let's talk about the roster addition. And that is Neo Howard. Neo Howard, I think is how it's pronounced. From Japan originally, played at Weber State last season. Didn't get to play much as a freshman. He kind of fits the bill, kind of similar to what we talked about with one of the other guards that we mentioned that was going to be coming on kind of more in like a walk-on capacity. That's what we're getting here in Howard as well. But he's young. He's only a sophomore, and he's 6'4", so you get good size at the guard position. And like I said, it's hard to find anything on him from his time at Weber State. But what I was able to check out, I did go see, I was able to pull up some of his high school stats. He hit, I think, 30+ threes his final year there. And if you watch a little bit of his tape, which this is some of his tape from his high school here, you can see he does have a pretty good stroke and, has some ability to his game. He's definitely going to be someone that's more developmental. I don't think you'd see him on the court this season, maybe someone that you see on the court down the line, but also, you can never discount filling out your roster, having bodies to practice with, having guys to do drills with. All of that definitely plays a role in a team's success over a course of a season. So don't want to diminish his addition by any means. And like I said, who knows what he can develop into. But as you see here he is 21. You can see here on the catch and shoot there after the rebound, you can see a little bit of the stroke there. And that's kind of what the main highlight was for me. It seems like to me, his shooting is the main standout, something that you could certainly develop around. And probably his quickest way to get on the court would be to get on there in, specialized situations when you need a shooter, right? As you just saw him right there, knock down a three to give his team a tie there late in the game. And then here he is attacking the basket with a little acrobatic finish. He does show in these highlights a little bit of ability to go off the dribble and attack the rim a little bit. And of course, at 6'4", he can finish at the rim. I had a dunk earlier in this highlight package. There's a nice pass by him as well. So you can see he has pretty good basketball IQ for sure. There's definitely potential there. You can see how he ended up at Weber State, but transferring to West Virginia. And there's a nice Euro step and a finish there on that one for his sophomore season, where he'll help fill out the backcourt there at the guard spot, a 6'4" guard, originally from Japan, coming over from Weber State, joining the West Virginia roster. And one more look at that shooting stroke there from the corner. Nice form, good shot. And I think, kind of fits the bill of what West Virginia's added at the guard spot, like guys that can really shoot the basketball. And he's another one of those, like I said, probably more of a developmental piece, but nonetheless, someone that'll help WVU basketball in the future and someone that'll fill out the roster here for Coach Ross Hodges' initial season. Other than that, the only other things I had here basketball-wise, then I'll get to some of your all's comments before we wrap up, was an update. We had speculated when we first talked about this, because we knew it would be neutral site, that the game in West Virginia would be at the Charleston Civic Center, or whatever it's called nowadays. That indeed was confirmed today by WVU. December 6th is when we'll take on Wake Forest this year in Charleston. Next year, there will be the return game in Greensboro at the Greensboro Civic Center deal there as the part of the 2-year neutral site series there. We get some announcements here from West Virginia. I won't read through all the quotes, but tip time and television details will be announced at a later date. This game will be the 4th matchup between the Mountaineers and the Demon Deacons on a neutral floor, and the 11th overall since 1948. West Virginia leads the series 7-3. Double overtime win, of course, in the 2005 NCAA tournament. And of course, you get statements from Ross Hodge, Ren Baker in there as well. If you guys want to read the full press release on it, it's on the WVU Sports site. But we know for sure in the Civic Center in Charleston to take on Wake Forest this upcoming season, another non-con matchup for Ross Hodge revealed. And then lastly, kind of WVU adjacent, some of you guys I know like to follow this in the summer when it goes on, and that's the TBT tournament, Best Virginia. The West Virginia alumni, their full roster for the upcoming tournament has been revealed. I think their first game is Friday. A lot of West Virginia alumni, and then some adjacent guys. You got John Flowers, you got Ed Andre. They bring in Wesley Harris, who played on the Mountaineers before being dismissed, of course. Keedy Johnson coming back. I like that they're getting couple of new guys. They got Ed Andre and Toby O'Connie. So a couple of guys that just graduated. Trey Mitchell, who, of course, transferred to Kentucky, is going to play with the Best Virginia squad. Then some guys that aren't from WVU with James Reese, Isaiah Sanders, Will Voorhees, J.D. Weatherspoon, and, of course, Jared West, son of Coach Jared West, who's coaching Best Virginia this year. So that's the roster, and wish those boys luck in that TBT tournament. Hope it has a good outcome. But that's pretty much all I had, guys. I wanted to definitely talk. Main topic was Sir Paul Cheeks. You guys know I'm a sucker for the skill positions, particularly the running backs are kind of always my favorite. So to see West Virginia go out and do such a great job in the recruiting that position in this 2026 class, I'm just over the moon. And it's an important position in Rich Rod's scheme. So excited about that. Excited about the Ross Hodge roster nearing its completion. One more roster spot left. We'll see where they go with it. Got to think it's going to be a front court player, hopefully, right? Let's hope so. We'll see what happens, but I'll keep you guys up to date on that as well, and anything else that breaks loose in WVU football or WVU basketball news. But I appreciate you guys tuning in here, whether you watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. If you watch on Facebook or Twitch, be sure to come over to the YouTube channel, subscribe here. That way you get access to the pre-recorded videos, podcast episodes, all that stuff, in addition to the live streams. If you're here on YouTube, whether watching live or on a playback, hit that thumbs up button. Help us out with that crazy YouTube algorithm. Help us find more Mountaineer fans like yourself. And if you didn't get a chance to chat live, throw some thoughts in the comment section. Appreciate those interactions as well. Let me get to some of the live comments here before we wrap up. Hey, it's Coop. I like this one right here. Jaheisman White. Hey, I like that. Hey, I could see him being a dark horse Heisman candidate easily. My man's going to have a big year. I think, a Doak Walker award finalist type year. Definitely, to me, best running back in the conference, and I think he'll prove it this year with a system that he's tailor-made for, which I'm really excited on. Kenny Evans, channel member here. Appreciate you always, Kenny. Appreciate all our channel members. Help keeping this mic recording and that camera rolling. If you can't get enough WVU football content, definitely suggest that, especially with football season rolls around, where you'll get snap counts, injury reports, depth chart updates, film reviews, a lot of fun stuff there. And Kenny is one that gets those perks there, and he asks any news on the players that may not be eligible this year. Nothing other than what I talked about in the last stream. A couple of them maybe have more of a chance than others. I think Ty Edwards is the one that I've heard people are most confident about, definitely being able to get the waiver. Up in the air on a couple of the other two, and unfortunately, the one that's probably the most impactful in my opinion, Jamori Robinson, the one that I'm really hoping to get eligible, is probably the biggest long shot of all. Unfortunately, is what I've kind of heard up to this point. And I'm preparing for the worst, or, what is it? Expect the worst, but preparing for the best, hoping for the best, expecting the worst. I'll get that right. I think that's it, right? That's the saying. Expect the worst, hope for the best. That's kind of how I'm going at this situation, because it looks kind of bleak, if you're asking me, particularly in the Jamori Robinson situation, which really bums me out. But we'll see. Hopefully it's surprising, and when we get some good news, the football gods look down upon us favorably, and maybe it surprises us, Kenny. We'll see, though. We'll see. We'll find out in short order. Practice starts in, 2 2 weeks from today, I believe, is the start of football practice here leading up to that first game. So we're close, guys. We're close. As it's Coop says, basketball needs a big badly. Yep, and I would be surprised if the final roster spot isn't for that big. Hey, Hornets fan hopping down over here. Good to see you, Hornets fan, over here on this channel. He's always up on my other channel there, JCCFB, where I cover the college football video game. Appreciate you, Hornets fan. John Waters in the house. Appreciate you, John. Let's go, Mountaineers. It's Coop says, eat shit pit. Always eat shit pit, my friend, always. And you even got the pit with the lowercase p. Always keep that in mind. Don't ever give them the capital P. They don't deserve the respect. Lowercase p on pit. This new kid is fast. I agree, John Waters. Super fast. Eric Flowers, I know that nickname makes me crack up every time. It's on a social media, and it's been in some of the commitments. And then, of course, hearing Pat McAfee and them talk about it gives you a good laugh. Sir Paul, Jesus in Cleats Cheeks. Like, Sir Paul Cheeks is good enough on its own, but then the fact that his nickname is Jesus in Cleats just makes it all the more better. All name team. It's Coop says Henderson over Marchiol. It's going to be a fun battle to watch. I know on College Football 26, I've been using Henderson because I like the speed there. But I honestly think both of those guys are going to play at least in the first couple of games probably. Like Rich Rod said, he may play those two and Max Brown. We'll see. But I definitely am fully expecting a little bit of a two-quarterback system, at least early in the season. Chris Gerald, good to see you, bro. He said, this kid looks damn good, giving Devon/Slayton hybrid vibes. He does. He has that same, stature, and he has that same kind of running and playing style. I'm super excited about Sir Paul Cheeks, man. Getting a 4.3 40 running back, that puts me over the moon. Jeremy said some of the teams he's playing against look small. Where's he from? He's from Virginia, Verena High School in Virginia, I do believe. I know it's Virginia for sure. And Eric says, wait until he gets wide receivers that can block for him. He'll score even more often. Good point. They'll have those receivers coached up in that Rich Rod scheme as well. Eric says, we need the backyard brawl on Thanksgiving Day again. Man, I'd love that. I don't know why. It seems like the Big 12 doesn't really do a lot of late season non-con games. They need to get into that, and we could have it actually on rivalry week. That'd be nice. Jeremy Armentrout says, if W looks as smooth as I've seen on NCAA 26 simulations, we could be Arizona State this year, just more exciting. But it's a game simulation, so there's that. Hey, I'll take any type of optimism we can get right now when we're 0-0, Jeremy, for sure. I know on my I've been doing a WVU Dynasty as Rich Rod on mine and trying to keep it as realistic as possible, including changing the name of the fictional players to the real players, changing the name of my recruits in year 2 to the actual 2026 recruits. So I've got Jaron Hughley and Jet Walker and Christopher Talley and all those guys. And I'm going to have Sir Paul Cheeks on there now, maybe one of my incoming freshmen. But on mine, 11 wins the first season, went 11-2, just missed out on the Big 12 championship game, but went on to win the Texas Bowl, 10-2 in year 2, and made the Big 12 championship games where I'm at currently. So, hey, I agree. It's looking good. Hopefully College Football 26 is a sign of things to come. That would be excellent. Michelle Weintraub, good to see you. Appreciate you, Michelle. This year is going to be an exciting year. I think we're going to see some really good stuff in all sports this coming year. Well said. The year of the Mountaineer, right? Let's make it happen. All right, I think we're all caught up here in the chat. So that's pretty much all I got here, guys. Appreciate you guys that came in here. Had some good turnout, some good live chat action here in this one, and I appreciate those comments. Like I said, if you didn't get a chance to chat live, throw it in the comments section. Appreciate those interactions as well, and I'll respond in due time there. But those help us continue to grow the CRW community throughout Mountaineer Nation. And got to shout out you guys on the audio side as well, which you can find on any podcast platform. If you listen that way, leave us a rating on that platform. That helps us out on that side of things as we continue to try and grow there on the audio side as well. But that'll do it for this one, guys. But be back in the near future. We're going to have a ton of football news coming as we approach fall camp. Like I said, just a couple of weeks away. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. So we'll have a lot of football news coming up, a lot of football things to discuss, position previews, position battles, all that coming your way. Plus, more WVU basketball updates. They're close, but we're not yet have that roster complete. So I'm sure we'll have at least one more roster update for you on the basketball side. So plenty of topics to cover, and we'll be back to cover the news for both WVU football and WVU basketball. So keep it locked here on the CRW, and I'll talk to you soon in the near future. Until next time, let's go Mountaineers.